Thanks for tuning in to another Trendy Indy. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. I'm your host, Jerry Gordon, your local real estate expert. And today I am joined by a man that I truly believe that every single person can benefit from. This is my good friend, CJ McClanahan. I appreciate you being here.
Jerry, it's my pleasure. It's a blast to be here. I enjoy myself on camera first and foremost. And I'm sure everyone else loves this gigantic head on the camera.
As you can tell, I really do appreciate it because he's fresh off of surgery. But to those who may not know, CJ has many distinctions. He is a keynote speaker, an executive coach, an author, hosts a podcast. He was IBJ 40 under 40. He's a great family man, and many, many more. Those are just some to boot. But with that, can you please tell me a little bit about your background, how you got started, and what you kind of focus on? What are some of your beliefs?
Yeah, so my background began, I went to IU, graduated. I ended up going into politics for no other reason than I couldn't figure out anything else to do. I worked at the big company, Arthur Andersen, the accounting firm. Some of your younger viewers may not know who that is. I helped run a small manufacturing company. 20 years ago, my wife got pregnant with our son Ian, and I walked in and I said, I want to start my own company. And she said, do you have any skills? I thought, not really. And I ended up buying a business coaching franchise out of Brisbane, Australia. And I've been coaching and training executives ever since. And fundamentally, my core belief is every human being can do whatever it is they want to do, so long as you coach and mentor and train them up the right way. And so that's what I've been doing for 20 years.
Okay, so you just right there, a lot to unpack. You mentioned that you do coach and you do talk with a lot of people about success. So, which is kind of subjective. So how, in your personal opinion, how do you define success?
I define success, and I've thought a ton about this in 20 years, is my ability to do things I enjoy doing, right? Things that are the things that I'm wired to do. I enjoy also the ability to live in the moment, really to just be in the moment and to unpack it. In addition, how strong my relationships are with the people that I care most about. If I'm doing those things on a regular basis, that's really fundamentally what success means to me. Now, having said that, I think making money is interesting to me too. I think being noticed by others is interesting to me. The thing is that doesn't typically bring me the joy I want it to bring. So fundamentally, what I need to do is I need to recognize being in the moment, doing what I'm wired to do, having great relationships with people I care about. That's how I measure success.
You said one word right there, joy. And one quote to me that has always stuck out to me is comparison is the thief of joy. And so in a world of social media, instant gratification, it's a lot easier said than done to not compare yourself. So how do you coach, or how does one not compare themselves to other people?
First, I think the idea of not comparing yourself is a foul. You can't. It's impossible to stop comparing. What you want to do is you want to say to yourself, when I compare, because by the way, Jerry, we compare negatively. Can we agree?
Yes.
You don't compare positively all the time. You look at their Facebook post or whatever it is, you're like, they're going to Hawaii?
Exactly.
Their son just got a scholarship to Harvard. He just bought that's how you compare. So I don't say constantly going up. So I don't say to myself, I don't look at this and go, I have to stop comparing. What I do is when I notice myself comparing, which by the way, Jerry, I do every single day.
As a human
nature, when I notice myself comparing, I stop and I go, okay. And I actually have this on a sign in my office that says, I am on the right journey for me right now. And I just constantly remind myself that I'm on the best journey for me right now. I don't think about it all the time because I still compare, but that's how I come back from the comparison so I don't get too wound up in it.
All right. So you mentioned in your office, and I've known CJ for a very long time. He's a sponge. He's constantly reading, talking to people, and more importantly, asking questions. So with that, I know what is one piece of advice, or what is one quote that sticks well with you?
Oh my gosh, this is great. I got tons of great quotes. My favorite quote comes from something called the Tao Te Ching. Okay. And the Tao Te Ching is a 2,500-year-old document written by a guy by the name of Lao Tzu. Eastern philosophy. And the Tao Te Ching, one of the verses says, rejoice in the way things are. The minute you realize you lack nothing, you gain everything. Boom! Right? It is. The minute you realize I'm okay where I'm at, this is fine, we're exactly where I'm at, you gain everything in the world. That's the hardest thing on the planet to do, to be content with where we're at this moment.
So coming off, this is coming from a guy who just had hand surgery.
Ooh.
And just like any other person, some days you wake up, you're the dog, you're the fire hydrant.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get up? What motivates CJ to get up and just tackle the day?
That's a great question. I would say this. I think some people are naturally morning people, and they can get out of bed and they can go. I'm a natural morning person.
Okay.
My nickname in college was Sunshine, because I would greet people when they came down for breakfast, and I would go, "Good morning, Sunshine," and they wanted to kill me. I'm just a very natural morning person. But there are some days I don't want to get out of bed. When that happens, which happens, I say to myself, behavior first, attitude second. Okay. What I mean is, I don't get up and go, I have to be motivated for the day. I go, I don't feel like doing this today. Today, I don't feel like getting up. And I'm like, okay, what's the behavior I have to do just to keep moving? I brush my teeth, and I just start behaving in a certain way, and eventually that creates this thing called momentum. Once the momentum gets going, boom, you're rolling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one thing that you've always taught me is like, hey, take it 24 hours at a time. If you can't do that, take it an hour at a time. If you can't do that, take it 10 minutes at a time.
Oh my God,
right?
no
and all
doubt.
of a sudden, you've got the momentum.
100%, no doubt, yeah.
So we were just talking about a little bit about your motivation. Clearly, you have a lot of passion about this. So can you also speak a little to the generosity first?
Yeah, so a decade ago, my clients were growing, their companies were growing, their wealth was increasing, and I thought to myself, as your wealth increases, your quality of life improves. I thought it was just very linear. So as your wealth increases, you're just going to become happier. What I found, it doesn't happen that way. There's zero correlation between wealth and happiness. So I literally scratched my giant bald head and I said, what am I doing?
Were you bald?
I was been bald quite a while. I've been bald a long time, people. So I noticed, I said, there's got to be a better way. So I just stumbled across a book called When Good Things Happen to Good People.
Okay.
And this guy, his name is Dr. Stephen Post, he convinced me that giving and being generous is one of the greatest things you can do to find more joy in your life. So a decade ago, I began to obsess about this concept of generosity. We began giving significantly more of our income and our time away to other people, and I encouraged my clients to do it. And what I found is every time you give, you have more joy in life. So it has become a really, really strong focus of mine, is to help people give more. In fact, this weekend, I'm actually giving the sermon at my church on generosity. True story. This weekend, my pastor asked me to do that. Generosity is a miracle drug that has no side effects, but brings you joy in a way that nothing else brings you joy.
I like that.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's 100%. And it goes account. People think that being generous takes things away from me. It doesn't. It gives you more than it ever takes away. You have to have faith that it's going to work.
Yeah, and you got to believe in it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, got to believe in it.
So how would people find you if they want to learn more about you?
Yeah, you can go to CJMcClanahan.com. You can go to CoachCJ.com. They both go to the same website. My website's got a whole bunch of different things. You can sign up. We have a really cool thing called the Achiever's Compass, which is a quiz you can take that's going to teach you all about where you're at in the journey. And it has a whole bunch of free videos for you as well to kind of get a sense for what that's all about. You can sign up for my newsletter, that sort of thing, learn all about what it is that I do.
I highly recommend it, actually. Yeah. But one other part of this is the wins and wines. Mm-hmm. So you've been doing this for quite some time, very long time. Now, reflecting on all your years, is there one thing that has stuck out to you professionally or personally that you would consider to be a win, or kind of like a big catching a break a little bit to give you that momentum?
Right. It is when I started this business.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, so 20 years ago, I quit my job, I took our savings, and I started the business 5 days before Ian was born, my son. Here's the win in that story.
I did say he was a good family man.
Yeah, right. So people think, oh my gosh, you're so courageous. That's so brave. I'm not. I have zero. I'm the least courageous person you're ever going to meet. Trust me. Here's why I did it. I'm not even sure I ever told you this. When I was thinking about doing it, I kept asking Nicole, I'm nervous because of this. I'm scared because of this. I'm worried this won't work. And finally one day, Nicole, who's my wife, by the way, Nicole said to me, quit whining about it and just do it. And she gave me, the reason the business exists is because she had courage enough for both of us. 100% true story. If Nicole would have said, dude, this is insanity. You're not starting a company before our son is born, I'd have never done it. Yeah. She's like, go ahead, do it. We'll figure it out. And that's the big win, is that I took a chance and I rolled the dice on myself, and Nicole and I kind of went in it together, and that was the big win. Big win. Yeah, I'm scared. Scared to death.
Like you said, you're risk adverse, but a family man, and then also talking about Nicole, Corinne, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
What are some days, or what is something that has like stuck out to you that made you want to reevaluate, go home to Nicole and whine about? Because you did just talk about whining a little bit.
Okay, I whine quite a bit. I seem inspirational now, but I whine. In fact, you should have seen me in the ER with this thing a few weeks ago. About 7 years ago, I was convinced that I should build a course with all my brilliance on the internet. So I did. I built this thing called Thrive Map University. I probably spent, with my staff and everything I put into this, I probably spent 75 grand on this thing. True story, 75 grand. After a year, we had 7 people signed up. 7 people signed up.
I think it may have been one of them.
You were probably one of them. $75,000. It made me reevaluate my decision making. It made me think, I'm out there telling business owners how to grow their business, and I spent $75,000 on something that doesn't work. It rocked my confidence, and that was probably 8 or 9 years ago. It really shook me up, but it made me recognize that building an online tool is a set of skills that in marketing the tool, I don't have, and I don't want to develop those skills. Unfortunately, I had to spend $75,000 to learn that. Yikes! Yeah, but it failed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, as you can tell, this guy is a plethora of knowledge. I strongly encourage you to look into it for one-on-one speaking. Subscribe to his podcast, Success 2.0. Read his book, The Overachiever's Dilemma. It'll change your life. I strongly encourage it. I know that I could talk to you all day, but if anybody, I know that you or anybody you know could benefit from CJ, please make sure to tag or share this, or just drop a comment for CJ and he'll get back to you. So again, I thank you.
God bless, Brian. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.